What's up, you guys? This is a Real Talk Corner with your host, Ariana, the Quantum Healers in the building. I have some awesome reaction videos for you. I will have a co-host on most of them. Sabrina's in the building. So just make sure you guys in the comments. Don't forget in the comments, let me know what you think about these reaction videos. And I want to know your opinion to what's going on. So this is a new segment. I'm going to be dropping just videos on different content, different other YouTube platforms, TikToks, things like that. Controversial, I need to be controversial because we will talk about it. So this is Real Talk Corner. I'm not afraid to talk about anything. I think a lot of people are afraid of cancel culture, but I think that there are things worth um, pushing the limit, should I say. So I have a beautiful, interesting conversation today. We're going to be watching. I'm going to be reacting to Julebee's. Julebee is if you don't know it, it's a channel that it does a lot of these skits, and it has basically puts people versus. So it'll have alpha males, beta males, or something like that. So and they'll have them have a conversation, and they're opposite. So I love these shows because it really can bring up some beautiful points, and it can actually open up some dialogue. So I actually love their channel. I love what they do. Big props to Julebee. So I will be reacting to a lot of their content because I just think it's phenomenal of what they're doing. And then I'll be giving you guys my opinion, of course, on what I feel, but we got to talk about it because, in this day and age, it's a lot of fuckery out there, right? So let's get into it. All right, let's keep going with this because I think I'm calling bullshit on a lot of this.
I remember when I would like go on tour and things like that, my friends would always try to encourage me to like hook up with girls that were onto me. But I wasn't really like into it. And it made me feel like weird, like off, like there was something wrong with me. And now I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I'm only having sex with multiple women, so I'm not weird. So I'm quote unquote normal. I feel like even when I do have sex with these random women, it doesn't give me any gratification. And I know that comes with like random sex in the end, but I know in the back of my mind that like I just like simply don't enjoy this. Like I've been with multiple women and I've been with one woman, and being with one woman is just so peaceful. As far as like telling young men that they're born this way and that they should feel this way, it can really not do damage, but just sort of make you second guess things about yourself. Am I normal? Am I weird? Is there something off about me? Everyone else around me is saying that I have to feel this way or I have to do these things, but yet I don't feel the courage to do those things.
I would say that's not true, though. I don't think that we should promote men sleep with multiple women. I think that we should promote choice and what feels right to you. So in your particular case, I would never tell you to sleep with multiple women. I think you might be doing the right thing to do exactly what you're doing and not do it or stop doing it. It's not about pushing it on the young men, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of young men that have a demon inside and maybe are really upset and frustrated with themselves because they feel a certain way. And it's like, oh, I'm coming out the closet. I'm straight, or super straight or too straight or whatever it is. I think that it's really going to be about choice, man. So if me to you, I tell you, if that you don't feel good doing that, man, I wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah, I agree. In your situation, what was happening, and this is what I think a lot of times what happens is you have guys who will have sex with multiple women because they're trying to fill a void. So it shouldn't be about filling a void. It should be about you actually desiring. So you don't desire to do it, so which is why you shouldn't do it. But there are guys who desire to do it, but then they're suppressing their desire, and then it's doing the same thing as you not wanting to do it. Like they feel weird about not doing it, but they want to, whereas you felt weird doing it, but you didn't want to.
I think it's a society thing. Like what you just said, who's making them feel guilty about not doing it? Other men. The reason, I think women and men, the question was, do you feel that men are meant to sleep with multiple women? Or they're just, that's what they do. And I don't think that's true. I think it's a part of your character and who you are. I do believe that if you're going to be honest with your partner is into it, but do I believe that we are biologically meant and it's in our head because we have to procreate and this and that? I don't believe that. I believe the reason we do it a lot is because it's looked upon as a great thing for men to have multiple women. Women are shamed for that. Shamed totally. I have one son and two daughters, and I know the difference of how I felt when they were 15, they're in their 20s now, they were 15 versus him having multiple partners or my daughter.
So if I could struck a check for $1 million and never feel that feeling again, I absolutely would. I really, really would. It's something that I really hated myself for, and I felt very apart. I grew up in the South Louisiana. I was a Bible Belt, and I felt very distant from people around me because I had this urge in me and could not understand why I was so different. Like the biggest self-hate I've ever felt in my life is over this particular subject. I thought I was broken.
So this is where healing comes into it, and that where he's talking about where he hated himself for feeling like, and again, he was raised in the Bible Belt. So this is where your limiting belief systems will come into your life, and these are the things, your life lessons that you are supposed to work with and work for to understand. For him, he was hating himself because he still had desire for other women, when maybe the people around him weren't explaining to him that that actually was a natural feeling, but you don't need to act on it. Same thing when I'm coaching and I'm speaking to people in their relationships. Women and men alike both get very jealous of their partner, being attractive or having people being attractive to them. And their insecurities come up. Now, I'm not saying these men have insecurities and that's why they're doing it, but I do see it a lot where people's insecurities get ahead of them, and so they start flipping out. And then you make someone feel bad because they do have these thoughts, or they do have these attractions to other people. And again, just because you're in a committed relationship does not mean that you are going to stop being attracted to other people. That is a part of the point of life. It doesn't just flip off. There's no switch. Then I'm in a committed relationship, I'm never going to be attracted to anybody else in this world. No, but when it comes to relationships, one of the biggest lessons in relationships is to choose each other through all the odds. And so when you make a choice to be with someone, you are choosing to be faithful to them. You are choosing to be in this relationship. And that's where I feel like there shouldn't really be a discussion on, is it just in my DNA to cheat? No, it's not in your fucking DNA to cheat. I think that's a cop-out and that's bullshit. You're choosing to be someone who wants to sleep with multiple people. Once again, you're making the choice. So just be with people who are okay with being in open relationships. Because again, we're in 2023. There's a lot of people who are okay with it. We'll take it back to what he said. It's when men start lying about it that becomes the problem. And I think that is the bigger issue. It's not that we don't, I feel like we're having a conversation that in 2023, we don't need to have anymore, because it's not about that. I don't think you're pre-programmed to just be fucking around with everyone. I feel like when it comes to relationships, both people, men and women, are choosing to come in together, are choosing to be faithful, and are choosing to make a life together. And I think those emotions and feelings and love and respect for your partner is what creates the faithful, monogamous relationship. So, and I feel like when we look at it in those terms, yeah. But if you're hating yourself for your desires, well, that's some deeper shit within you that you need to work out. If you're struggling with any of those things, again, people have addictions to all kind of things. I'm not saying that that's his addiction, but I just feel like you were hating yourself because people were telling you something was wrong with you. But having attraction is normal, and attraction does not stop when you have a partner. So I really hope people that understand that attraction does not stop when you have a partner. This is why in the dating cycle, it gets so crazy with people, because people think, oh, I met you, you like me, I like you, we're just going to run off into the sunset. But that's not how it is, because when someone's dating, they're open and they're meeting more people, and someone else comes along that they are attracted to a little bit better. They like them a little bit better, so they go with them. And so I feel like we just have to re-look at these levels instead of taking it to those levels to where I'm primitive and this is in my DNA to cheat. And I just don't agree with that. It's a cop out. So you want to fuck multiple people, go fuck multiple people. Find a person that wants to do it too.
Going to come back with, just being around it. And me, I'm bisexual. I've always have been. But like you heard me say, I've been married to a woman for 30 years. And I've been committed for 30 years. It doesn't that I don't have that desire. It's my character to say, this is my person. And that's who I want to be with.
So
that's
you're
what
making a character versus is the driver.
I was going to
Right,
say.
but then that goes back to, are we just built that way? Because if we're just built that way as men, then there's multiple people that I'm going to want to sleep with.
But I think what I was under the impression with that question was, are we biologically DNA
Right.
created for that?
Right.
I say yes, but I love and I agree with what we're saying here. It's like, but as men, right, in the culture and awareness and being a human being, having a consciousness, choice, language, we can choose not to. We can go against those desires or urges and stuff.
If you feel that desire and you're honest with your partner, I believe that is true. Do I believe that we are biologically meant to, we just biologically want to sleep with more people because we have a penis between our legs and not a vagina? I don't.
Well, let me ask you this though, because you said you're bisexual, so does that means you're attracted to men and women, right? So if you're with a woman, well, aren't you also attracted to men? So wouldn't you want a man and a woman?
No.
So you're just like, I just want one, and that's.
I made a commitment, and it's not even like I'm.
But there's no urge to want.
There's always
more?
urge.
That's what I'm. That's what we're talking about.
But that doesn't mean that I'm biologically. I think men and women both have urges.
Where do you think the urge is coming from, though, if it's not biologically inside of you?
I think the urge comes from. I don't think it's a biological thing. I think
temptation, not urge.
I think
But the urge creates temptation, no?
But is temptation bad? Like you say it in a way that's kind of like
No.
temptation.
I don't think temptation's bad. I don't think it's a thing of all. Then that goes back to all of us. Then all of us are meant to sleep with multiple people. So then that's just a whole different society thing. But it's not just. The question was, as men, are we? And I don't think so.
But regardless, I think it's important to understand. 'Cause I think we are, and if we can come to terms with that, we can begin to move past it if that's what we desire. But if we reject that idea that it's not natural, then we can't move past it if that's something that someone wants to do.
But do you agree it's just men? Do you agree with that statement that it's just
No, I think it's women too.
okay? That's where I
yeah.
disagree.
Oh no, because we just talking men,
Right.
But I agree that it's men and women.
What it sounded like was, and correct me if I'm wrong, people started talking about like infidelity and, you know, telling the truth. And I think like the urges and things are okay until you act upon it. And that's when both adults just have to have a conversation about, you know, this isn't working out for me. I still want to, you know, sleep around or whatever you want to call it. It sounds like some people want to have their cake and eat it too, which I don't necessarily agree with. But I think just as long as all parties involved have an understanding of what they're getting into, I don't see the issue.
I mean, honestly, I don't think I could say it any better than he did. That, which I feel like most of us or all of us kind of agree upon, that in the end, it is a choice. That like, if you want to be in a poly like relationship, that's fine as long as everyone's in agreement. Obviously, don't, you know, be in a monogamous relationship and then, you know, like single-handedly choose to, you know, sleep with a woman without telling your partner. Like that's when like issues arise.
Women are more attractive than dominating women.
Oh hell yeah! You know. Hell yeah! Listen, my shirt says "submissive women are sexy." Okay, so
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. Look, I think one of the most beautiful things about love is being able to fully take care of a woman in every way, whether that's emotionally protecting, providing, everything about that. Like every fairy tale that was ever written for all of time was about a man saving a woman from a castle and a dragon, right? Or some sort of scenario like that. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. And I have nothing against women being empowered, but I do feel like the happiest women in the world are the ones that look up to a man and that he can fight every day to love her and love his kids and his family and provide and be that source of something to actually look up to. Like, I believe a woman can admire a man and it's very, very, very healthy. Am I saying that somebody that doesn't do that is not a man? No, I would never. But ideally, the relationships that are going to work, the relationships in, let's say, the 30s, 40s, 50s, or whenever, you know, we were having nuclear families stay together before we went off the gold standard and inflation pushed everybody to have two people have to have a job. Yeah, dude, I do. I think those relationships are much happier when the man can lead a house and be proud of going out and going to work every day and fighting for his family. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think what we have to do is we have to look at general female happiness, because that's really what I'm into. Like, I don't really care what guys think or what girls think. I think I have a unique perspective in that I've worked with a lot of high-performing women that operate in this dominant role. And I work with them for the purpose of helping them be able to reintegrate with that more submissive, connected, intuitive part of themselves that really is connected to their bodies, that if they were connected to their bodies wouldn't be as dominant, at least in the presence of men. And with every woman that I've worked with, there is this deep, deep, deep desire, regardless of what she says externally, to submit to the leadership of a man that she knows can properly hold down the emotional space and really put her interest at the forefront.
Right? Because soon as
Exactly what he just said. Women will submit when they know that the man, one, has their best interests, and two, is a leader. Yes, those are the key things. I think that people mistake what submission means. You have a lot of women who think submissive means being a slave, or being submissive is taking us back to the 1800s. And that's not what submissive is, because I'm a very alpha female. But I can tell you that I get that switches very quickly in the presence of that alpha male, because of the natural connection between masculine and feminine. Okay. And if you understand the natural principles of masculine and feminine, of how they just complement each other, and the masculine role, regardless to what society, because I know there's a lot of society construct bullshit talk about these days. Regardless to that, the man, the masculine, has that natural protective role, whereas the feminine has the natural nurturing role. Now that does get messed up because of how you're raised and all of those things. But yes, a woman will definitely submit to a man who she feels, right? She has to feel that she can trust this man to lead her, that she can trust this man to be that protector, and she can trust him to lead the family. But if you are not that man, you don't got your shit together, do not expect your woman to be submissive to everything you fucking say. And so, women, just be careful of getting mad about that word, because submission does not mean slave. Submissive is letting your man lead the show, but also make sure who's leading you is not leading you off a fucking cliff, you know? Because yes, most women want to be nurtured and taken care of. There's not a woman out there, unless they're going through some things, that's going to sit and say, I don't want a man to take, I don't need a man. When you get into the energy of I don't need a man, there's some hurt going in there, because something has happened. Because when you look at us, we always need each other. There's no problem with saying we need each other. There's no problem with saying that to be submissive. You can be submissive with your man. Most of the time, it's your friends and people that are talking shit about you, that make you or kind of look at this like, I can't be submissive because I got to do this. You got to pretend to be this. No woman wants to be alone forever. No woman wants to be alone. Even the most dedicated ones. Like, I'm a very career driven woman who goes after what she wants. I'm very determined in that way. I'm very solo. I don't run in a pack of other females, but I still have the desire to have that companion. So I think that there's a big misconception of that submissive. And when you see an alpha woman, to just automatically assume that she won't be submissive, and men do not think that. If you see a woman doing her thing and being that alpha woman in her life, most likely she had to be, right? Because us women have to be. I was a single mom for 20 plus years, right? Because they get grown. And can you really consider yourself a single mom when they're adult? I don't know. But you get pushed in this role to have to be very strong, very dominant, go for things, make shit happen, because there's nobody else doing it for you. And so you get into this just cycle of doing these things. And when a man does try to come and do something, it's foreign and you don't know how to act. So women really need men to be sympathetic and to just take that step back, and don't judge her because she's coming off too harsh or too alpha, because most likely she's had to be in that spot and she's never been able to give that role up to somebody else, because the other people have disappointed her in that way. So if you could just take that step back and just, let me see where this goes. Let me not just take it to where she's trying to be difficult. Maybe she actually has a background where she's had to be in this role. And now, if you truly want this woman, you're going to need to prove that you're that alpha. Think of a pack when the alphas are fighting. The one that's more dominant wins, right? And not to say that you need to fight with your girl or anything, but in that aspect, she needs to know that you can come in and run shit. And if you can't, she's not going to give you that title. Just not going to give you that title. All right, that's all for this one. Drop a comment in the below. Drop a comment below. Let me know how you're thinking or what you're feeling about this. Do you guys agree with this? I do think that there's a misconception on a submissive woman, and I think a lot of us alpha women are not being picked because men have this assumption that we're just not going to submit. And like the guy said, we will, just to the right person. So this is Real Talk Corner, you guys. There will be a couple more. I will be reviewing this whole thing, so I'll have a couple more drop. Make sure you go watch them.